Welcome to another deep dive. We've got an interesting one today, I think.
Yeah.
So we're diving into this children's book
Uh-huh.
called Marco's Big Adventure.
It is
And it really
necessary.
caught my eye because it's trilingual.
Yeah, it's
It's
amazing.
Italian, English, and German,
Yeah.
all in one book, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that,
Yeah.
it's got these QR codes that you can scan to
Right.
get like a little audio narration in
Mhm.
each of the three languages.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like a built-in language tutor. I thought that was really...
It's very cool. Yeah. It's a really nice way to blend a traditional storybook
Mm,
with all of this modern technology.
yeah.
And it creates such a rich learning experience. Yeah.
So the story itself,
Yeah.
it's about this little bear,
Uh-huh.
Marco, who goes on a journey through the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Seems simple enough, but what stands out to you about how the story is structured?
Well, I think from the start, you know, young readers are introduced to Marco. This curious bear. He dreams of exploring his enchanted forests, right?
Right.
It's like a setting that's just ready for an adventure.
Yeah.
But then, of course, he runs into all these challenges, like a rushing river
Oh, right.
and a steep cliff.
Yeah.
Those obstacles aren't just there for the excitement.
Right.
I think they're really carefully chosen to illustrate teamwork and perseverance.
Right. And it's not like he just bravely overcomes all these obstacles by himself.
Exactly.
He gets help from
Yes.
other animals in the forest.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it alone. And each animal has their own unique abilities.
Right.
So it's a subtle way to introduce that idea that we can achieve more when we work together
Wise.
and when we learn from each other.
Totally.
It's all woven in.
Yeah. I noticed that like the way the animal encounters are set up, it's
Mhm.
very clever. Like he needs a bridge to cross the river.
Right.
And who better to help than the beavers?
Of course. They're the builders.
Right. Exactly. And then the steep cliff, it's the squirrels that show him the safest way.
Agile little squirrels.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful way to demonstrate that different skills and perspectives can come together
Yeah.
to solve problems.
It's like the story is kind of planting these seeds
Uh,
of problem solving and collaboration.
exactly.
Even before a child might even recognize those concepts.
And then you've got the languages, right?
Yeah.
Reinforcing that idea of diverse perspectives.
Mhm.
Imagine a child listening to this story,
Yeah.
the same adventure, but in 3 different languages.
Yeah.
It just opens up their mind to all these possibilities.
That's a good point because it's not just about learning vocabulary words.
It's so much more than that.
Right. It's about developing an ear for the different sounds, the rhythms,
Yeah.
experiencing the world
You are
through,
a multilingual lens.
yeah, a multilingual lens.
Yeah.
How do you think that shapes a child's perspective?
Well, it's a great question. I think researchers are really just starting to explore this.
Yeah.
But there is growing evidence that this early exposure to multiple languages really does make them
Yeah.
more receptive to learning new languages in the future.
Right. Makes them more,
They develop a sense of curiosity and comfort
yeah.
with all this linguistic diversity.
Yeah. It's so much more engaging than just basic vocabulary lists.
It is. And you don't even realize you're having a language lesson, right?
Yeah.
It's just part of the story.
I can just picture a kid like excitedly scanning those QR codes to
Yeah.
hear what like how Marco's animal friends sound in Italian
It's brilliant.
or German.
It's brilliant how it combines the visual, the auditory, even the kinesthetic learning
Yeah.
with the act of scanning. It's,
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about the illustrations.
oh yes.
Yeah.
The illustrations are so important, right?
Yeah.
Especially for younger children who are still developing their reading skills.
From what I've seen, they look really colorful and engaging.
Yeah, they have to be. They have to capture the spirit of the adventure,
Yeah.
the warmth of the characters.
Yeah, they kind of even reinforce the multilingual aspect because you see the animals and their names in all three languages.
Exactly. A feast for the eyes
Yeah.
and the imagination.
Yeah.
That's what magic happens, right?
Totally.
When the child gets lost in that world, their imagination just takes off.
Yeah.
And then learning just becomes this organic part of the whole experience.
Speaking of getting lost in this story, Marco eventually comes home, right?
Right.
And realizes the greatest adventure was the one inside himself.
That's such a powerful message. It's not just about exploring the physical world, it's about self-discovery.
Yeah.
It's realizing that sometimes the greatest journey is the one that we take to understand ourselves,
Yeah.
to uncover our own strengths, our own resilience,
Right.
and to do it with kindness and compassion.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so important Yeah, it reminds me of that, like that saying, not all who wander are lost. You
Right.
know, he comes back home. Right.
Exactly.
And
He's different.
he's changed,
Yeah, he's changed.
enriched by the experience.
That's a good theme. I think that resonates with
Uh,
people of all ages,
ah,
really. I mean, we've all had those times where, like,
of
a
course,
journey has.
whether it's a literal journey or a metaphorical journey,
Right. It leads to a deeper understanding of ourselves.
absolutely.
I'm curious, like, thinking back to your own childhood,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember any books that had a big impact on you?
Oh, there was this one book. It was all about the human body,
Okay.
and it had these beautiful illustrations.
Oh, nice.
And it explained all these like complex biological systems
Yeah.
in a way that I could actually understand.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really got me interested in science.
Wow.
Yeah,
So a single book can really spark, like, a
absolutely.
lifelong passion.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. I remember this book about ancient civilizations. Oh, wow.
That I was obsessed with as a kid.
Uh-huh.
Made me want to learn everything about history and archaeology.
Oh, well, that's great. So we both had our reading adventures, right?
Yeah, I guess we did. Yours was more through time.
Through time,
And
through cultures,
In cultures, yeah.
Yeah.
And mine was like more the inner workings of the body.
the inner workings,
Yeah.
the mysteries of the human body.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So this book, Marco's Big Adventure, it's kind of like,
It's all of those things, right?
it is all of those things, yeah?
A journey through the forest,
Yeah.
through languages,
Yeah.
and ultimately a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah. And it's a children's book.
Yeah, it just shows you what children's literature can do,
It
right?
really does. It can be so much more than just entertainment.
Absolutely. It's the power of storytelling,
Yeah.
right? And especially when it's combined with all these, like, thoughtful design choices,
Right.
it enhances that learning experience so much.
Well, speaking of design choices, I wanted to mention that page that's dedicated to learning animal names
Oh, right. Yes.
in all three languages.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Like a built-in vocabulary builder.
It's so clever
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel like you're studying,
Right,
right?
right.
You're just part of the adventure.
Right. You're having
They're
fun.
learning these animal names.
Yeah. And then there's that question at the end.
Uh-huh.
It says, which other animals do you know?
Right.
Which is such a good way to get them to think beyond.
Absolutely.
Well,
Go beyond the book. Keep exploring.
yeah.
Connect what they've learned to the wider world.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting that you mentioned that
I'd say, yeah.
early language exposure can actually.
Yeah. It can really enhance cognitive flexibility.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So research shows that kids who grow up
Okay.
speaking multiple languages,
Yeah.
they often show greater cognitive flexibility,
Yeah.
meaning they're better at switching between different tasks.
Oh.
They can adapt to new situations easier,
Hmm.
and they tend to be more creative problem solvers.
So it's not just about the language skills themselves.
It's more than that.
It's actually like training their brain.
It's like mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
You're training your brain to be more adaptable.
Wow. That's really fascinating. So Marco's Big Adventure, with its kind of playful approach to
It's-
multilingualism,
Yeah, it could be such a valuable tool
it could.
for parents and educators who want to foster these skills.
Yeah. It's inspiring to think about.
It is.
Like this one book could spark all these things.
Absolutely. It could spark this lifelong love of languages, a fascination with different cultures,
Mm.
just this sense of wonder about the world.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And it makes me think, like, what other innovations
Oh, that's a great question.
might we see in the future of children's books?
I think authors and publishers are trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah.
As technology keeps advancing,
Yeah.
the possibilities are endless. Yeah, we might see more interactive elements, augmented reality experiences, maybe even personalized storylines.
Wow.
Who knows, right?
Yeah, who knows? It's exciting to think about.
It is exciting. It's a very exciting time.
Well, it is exciting. And for now, we have Marco's Big Adventure, which is pretty great as
Yeah.
is.
Kitchen.
I'm curious to hear, like, what are your final thoughts?
You know, I think for me, it's that reminder that learning should be joyful.
Oh, yeah.
It can be joyful. It should be joyful.
Mm.
And this book is such a great example of that.
Yeah.
It just blends entertainment and education so seamlessly.
Yeah, like you're not just memorizing words or grammar rules.
It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about experiencing the language.
Yeah, experiencing it.
Yeah, and seeing how beautiful and diverse it can be.
Yeah, and I love that Marco's Big Adventure does exactly that.
It does.
It's like a playful invitation to explore it all.
It is.
So as we kind of wrap up here, I'm wondering, like, how do you think a book like this might change the way a young reader sees the world?
That's a great question. I mean, it could spark all sorts of things.
Yeah.
A love of languages, maybe a fascination with different cultures,
Yeah,
even just a sense of wonder about the world that's out there.
it really could. And it reminds me that that's the beauty of a great book, right?
It is. It really
It
is.
can just totally change the way we see
It
things.
can plant those seeds of curiosity, ignite those passions.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
It's been a pleasure exploring Marco's Big Adventure with you.
It has. It's a delightful book.
And until next time, keep those imaginations going.
Absolutely. Let those imaginations run wild.